You're listening to The Revolution of Regenerative Medicine, a podcast with me, Dr. Gregory Laurence.
A few years ago, when I first indicated to you that I had stem cells in reserve that could be placed in my body, you requested the opportunity to put them in me through an IV, indicating that, like an aspirin, they would know where to go to fix things. And my fear had been, I wanted them put in my heart because I want them to know where they're going in case I sprain my ankle that weekend and they're going to go to my ankle. How do I know, or have you changed your opinion on where you think they'll go now?
Well, I've changed my metaphor. So the better metaphor that kind of explains the reason behind the efficacy of an intravenous placement has to do with antibiotics. If you take an oral antibiotic, it absorbs through your stomach, goes into your vessels, and it goes to all your tissues. If you have an IV antibiotic, sometimes at a little bit higher dose, it more quickly gets to the same place. But it's using that 25,000 miles of vessels that you have with a better distribution system than even FedEx has put together, right? So utilizing what you already have to deliver is really important. As a surgeon, we recognize that if you have an infected wound, you can smear all the antibiotic that you want onto the wound, and unless it gets to the wound from the inside, it's not going to have efficacy. So in this standpoint, we do have from one standpoint, we do have a concern that if we're trying to treat somebody's heart and they have something else going on, like they just worked out real hard, they just had a liposuction procedure, they sprung their ankle, that yeah, it may be that you're not going to get as many stem cells. So I would prefer that you have a stem cell procedure done or a stromal vascular fraction procedure done without any signaling that might cause some of those cells to go somewhere else.
So you're indicating it doesn't have to be at the site, but as long as not other items are going on within your body, it will locate where it needs to go. So
from your illustration was really perfect. It may be true that we're going to find out in the future that we have a 50 times better response by giving it to you IV, because your heart is literally just soaked with the distribution system of arterioles that go over the heart and through the heart, and all your heart tissue will see those cells. If you try to do a deployment, it may just those cells may just sit at that one place in the muscle and not really move around. Now I've never deployed stem cells in the heart. I'm assuming they probably try to put it in the space between your pleura and the muscle so that it basically goes all over the surface of the heart instead of actually putting it into the injured muscle. But I don't know. I don't know exactly how they
I
do
would
it.
like to indicate that that's what happened, but from talking with the doctor, he spoke that he just introduced them into the heart space, and that he also flushed the apparatus to make sure that every cell was out and deployed, but he did not indicate that it was placed within the organ itself, but more freeform.
Right. So if you have a damaged heart, any tissue, it's very likely sending out these messages trying to recruit cells, and so it's more of a magnet. So when you do put them intravenous, everything more efficiently gets to the damaged tissue than the tissue that's not damaged.
So you think anything that needs it is more like a magnet and will draw that cell to it?
You know, I try to be very cautious in my enthusiasm and trying to maybe simplify things with a metaphor like that or a picture, but that is the way that my simple mind understands how the healing is happening. I'm just giving a high enough dose of the right thing that is hopefully enough for any particular disease process to tip the balance from things going in the direction of disrepair and disease into healing and growth and increasing function of the tissue.
It's like taking an aspirin. It knows whether to go to a headache or I hurt my shoulder today.
Right, and I think I just learned recently that aspirin worked in a way different way that I thought it did, and I was kind of a little bit ashamed being a doctor that I really didn't know exactly how aspirin worked. I knew that it reset, for temperature-wise, it resets the thermostat, but it actually changes the pH of the blood, and that does some things that helps with alleviate pain that I don't really fully understand. Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to subscribe to my podcast, The Revolution of Regenerative Medicine. I'm Dr. Gregory Laurence, and I look forward to you joining me again soon.